for joining us for this very special Colorado's Best.
Yeah.
Every weekday morning, right after Colorado's Best, you get to tune into the Dr. Oz Show. It's right here on Channel 2.
And we tune in, too.
That's right.
We always go up to our
That's
office
right.
and tune in. He covers such a wide range of topics, from alternative health to anti-aging to family health, heart health, too. We learned so much from him. And this morning, we are honored to have him live in studio, Dr. Oz, Dr. Emmett Oz. Thank you so much for being on with us today.
Yes, we love having you here. We're going to jump into some health questions in just a bit, but first we want to hear a little bit more about you, Dr. Oz, and what you love about Colorado.
Well, I come to Colorado quite a bit. I love skiing. There's a conference I come to as well. There's lots of people who educate their minds and their bodies by coming to Colorado, so you're blessed to be in this wonderful state. I'm of Turkish origin, which explains the strangeness of my name. The word Oz means pure in Turkish.
Oh.
And that's why it's a common name when you go there. And when I ever come to Colorado, I always bring my family. Because for me, family has always been a major play, and in particular my wife, who's the real power mover in the home. She's the one who usually makes all the important decisions. I always joke that in my house the prosecution never rests because she's on me all the time. But she has been a real partner in every aspect of my life. It's 32 years of marriage, and we have 4 children. Our oldest, you may know, Daphne, hosts the Chew.
Yes.
And she's pregnant and going to have our 3rd grandchild. So for me, the ability to have them all around where I can understand what's going on in their minds and explore how to help them is the most rewarding part of my life. And part of the reason I love doing the show is because I think for most people viewing, they share those sensibilities, those values. They know that family's first. They just don't know how quite to change the minds of the people they love, which is why when women know what to do, but they don't know how to tell it to their men, it's called nagging. And that's a problem because neither side's healthy. Now I've got a system that's pretty good where I can educate women in particular about what to do, but also how to say it. And that really gets under the skin of their men. In fact, there's a website called IHateDrOz.com. It's started by husbands.
Uh-oh.
Yes, very popular site, by the way.
IHateDrOz.com.
Yes, it does very well. Big social movement.
I'm going to get on there and check it
Great.
out.
So
Yes.
before we move on, how do we talk to our husbands to get that communication
I think
going?
women give men too much latitude. Most men are used to being told what to do or telling someone else what to do. The subtlety, the nuanced gray areas don't work as well for us. So if you want me to get my prostate examined, you make the appointment. I'll show up because you made the appointment. Nagging me to get it as I'm about to fall asleep at night, it doesn't get the goal done because I'm not going to do it right then. By tomorrow, it's off my radar screen. Now you're frustrated that I don't love you because if I did, I would have made the appointment to get my health. And the other thing that works is highlighting to men that the most loving thing they can do for their family is to stay healthy so they're there for them.
Yeah.
So whenever I have a challenging person on the show, and I still practice medicine. I operate, usually today, on Thursdays, I'm operating at Columbia University. I always say, listen, look at the people in this room, and if you truly love them, you want to walk her down the aisle, you want to see him graduate, and you don't want her to go into old age without you. So that's your team. So the most loyal thing you can do to them is to make sure you're healthy enough to be at full speed for them.
That's really good advice.
I'm so glad you're here.
I know.
Feel a sense of
having you
relief
here.
and peace. You know, I think that's what people love about you. You just seem so easy to talk to, and you break it down and make everything so manageable. We talked to a lot of our viewers. We went on the street. We're at 16th Street Mall.
Yeah.
We got lots of questions for you this morning. So our first one, we're going to start with Justin, who's dealing with a lot of emotional stress. So listen.
Take it away.
What's a good way to deal with stress, and how can I deal with emotional difficulties when I don't have anywhere else to turn?
So stress is an affluent person's word for fear. It really comes down to the uncertainty and the lack of happiness with that. And when we do surveys, and we have done them on the show, big surveys of Americans, the way you do political campaign surveys, we've learned that the #1 issue bothering Americans is mental health and stress. And the #1 cause of stress that's treatable is financial issues, which we can talk about separately, but that's just a stimulant. The reality is, it's not the stress itself, it's the response to stress that matters. And I'll do a little exercise with you, if you don't mind. I just had a guest on the show who's, I thought, fantastic.
We'd love that.
Who shared something with me that I think might be valuable. So the way you might think about this is, you get cravings to do things when you feel stress, to eat, gamble, do bad things, whatever. And so the experience, he says, is very simple. Take this idea. This is called The Tools, by the way, and the book is fantastic. The Tools. But you take this idea, whatever's irritating you, whatever's making you crave it, and you realize it's not satisfying the deep inner darkness that's in your soul. There's always an emptiness inside, which is why that fear, that stress really bothers you. And in that darkness, you just got to get comfortable for literally a second in it. And then he says, imagine this sun that's an eclipse. So it's a sun with a little bit of light coming around it and begins to fill you from inside. And then you realize there's a lot in there you never appreciated was happening. And once you feel that big light, that warmth inside of you, then let it come out, because that's who you want to be to the world around you. The best antidote to stress is to help somebody else. I know it sounds kind of intuitive. I got problems myself. Why am I helping you? But the ability to give to others has always allowed our species to thrive. It provides a safety net for our communities, our society, and it allows you to get past the issues that are stressing you out. Because if you write that stress down, that young man, whatever was stressing him out, write it down, put it in a box, open it up in 24 hours, literally, you'll laugh at yourself. The things that bother us are so effervescent, they fly away so quickly, we should never get hung up on them. We can only get that in their perspective if we take that deeper tact.
I love that. I love that. Moving on to our second question, we talked to Kendall. It's about marijuana. And as you know, it's legal in the state of Colorado, and she has a question for you.
So how he feels about cannabis and people self-medicating to treat depression and anxiety, and how he feels about it.
Cannabis is one of the biggest hypocrisies in America. And I'm, as a physician, speaking to the fact that medicinal marijuana has clear benefits, in my opinion. There's enough data to support it being researched aggressively, and yet we've made it almost impossible to research it by reducing how people can get access to it and fund the research itself. 27 states now have approved medicinal marijuana, and yet I've spoken to the DEA, FDA. They're scared of saying yes, but everyone in the medical community knows we have to. It's law enforcement that doesn't quite understand it, or maybe they do, but they don't really know how to get out of the way. So we have law enforcement making decisions about a problem that is a medical decision. Doctors should be deciding if you need marijuana or, frankly, anything else to help you out. And I'll give you the best case right now how it can help us. We have more Americans, 18 to 60-year-old Americans, middle-aged Americans, dying of opiate addiction than any other cause. So you're more likely to die from opiates than car accidents or any other accident. So knowing that, and knowing that we have data showing that marijuana helps get some people off narcotics, why would I not want to try it for that? Why would I not want to run larger programs to let that be tried? Might not work. We're fearful it's a gateway drug, and maybe for some people it might be, but it may be the opposite for people who are already on the opiates. Now, I personally am not a supporter of recreational marijuana, and the reason for that is because I think it gives us a fake sense of confidence that it could be a safe crutch. You shouldn't need anything outside you to deal with the issues that are bothering you. That power is always going to be inside of you. But medicinal marijuana for seizures, for anxiety, sleep, pain, it seems to work. So why not allow us to use it more robustly? And it's the hypocrisy of knowing that it might work and not letting it happen that undermines the rule of law in a society.
So interesting, because so many people were concerned that it would be a gateway to the more, serious narcotics, but you're saying it might be helping people get off opiates.
States that have legalized medical marijuana have 25% reduction in the death rate from narcotics. Wow. So it's not even, I mean, we don't know for sure that's why it happened. There are other factors that could play a role, but that kind of data is pretty compelling. And you can't die from marijuana, really, unless you do something crazy because you're high. But the drug itself doesn't block your lung receptors the way narcotics do. Narcotics kill you because they turn off your desire to breathe, so you suffocate. We use them in surgery for that reason. I can turn you off, knock you out, and then put a breathing tube down to breathe for you. But I could never do anesthesia with pot. That wouldn't work very well. You'd be super alert. That hurts. Stop that. Please stop.
We have a team. You talked to some of our team members. We just did a big 10K called Fortitude up in Fort Collins, Colorado. So many people were, just so psyched for that. But it was really about, building this team. And here at the workplace, it made us all closer. Do you do things like that with the DrOz team? Do you guys, do lots of things together?
Oh, we have all kinds of team efforts. It's important to community. And I'm an alum of the Boulder, I should tell you.
Oh, well, wonderful.
The sister race, I've learned. And I think any activity, running, basketball, sports of any kind help, but it can also be the arts. It doesn't have to be something that makes you sweat. Things that bring us together and let us see each other in different ways. In our family, we do something called Oz Olympics. So whenever it's snowy outside and the kids couldn't go outside, we'd take them and we'd all play different sports. And I would pick the sports based on who was best at what, so that the same person wouldn't win. And at the end, we'd play charades. but full contact charades.
Oh, okay, you're going to have to demo that in the fitness segment
But it
coming
works.
up, right?
I mean, how better to understand somebody than to watch how they perform when they're outside their normal environment. That's why people golf. And that's why they do business on golf courses, or play tennis, because they can see how the person is acting. Do I want to work with that person or not? You learn.
There you go. All right, full contact charades coming up.
Dr. Oz. Coming up on Dr. Oz. So you can catch the Dr. Oz show Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. right after Colorado's Best right here on Channel 2.
All right, we all know tea has immense